Guys, welcome back to our lecture number 6 of macroeconomics. So today we will be continuing with our unit number 2, money and banking, and we will be understanding how did the problem of barter economy overcame with the help of money. Actually we have done this already in the previous lecture, but once we understand what actually money is, you will be able to understand this in a much better terms. So starting out with what actually money is. So in the last class we did what are actually the limitations of barter economy, and then we understood how did money overcame these all problems, and now we will be doing what actually money is and what are its features. So we can say that money is anything that can be accepted as a medium of exchange which does not have a problem of storage that we used to have in our barter economy. So we can say that it has a which can be stored at a particular place, or storage of value we can say. Then we can say that money is actually helping us as a measure of value also. We can actually measure anything in terms of money. So money is anything that can be measured in terms of value. And last but not the least, money is anything that can be accepted as a standard of deferred payment. So first of all, we can say that when money we are talking as my medium of exchange. So this means whenever, if for example, I'm taking an example of wheat only, because that becomes easy to understand when we take only one example and relate it to our all the things. Okay, so counting as wheat when we talk of as a medium of exchange. So when I want to take wheat in exchange of rice, so I want to exchange this rice with this wheat. So I don't know what actually this quality of rice is and this quality of wheat is. But when I talk in terms of money, if I'm knowing that okay, this rice is of this much price and this wheat is of this much price, then I can exchange with the help of money. So if for example, if I say that 25 rupees a kg is rice and 50 rupees a kg is wheat, so I know that if I sell 2 kg of rice, and I'll be able to purchase 1 kg of wheat. So money, when money is involved, we can easily exchange items. So money helps as a medium of exchange. Secondly, when we involve money, then it becomes very much easy to store the value. That means, for example, if I say that I can store 1 kg of wheat in my pocket, no, that's not possible. Why it's not possible? Because everyone knows that storing rupees 50 is much easier than storing 1 kg of wheat in your just small tiny pocket, right? So next comes this measure of value. Now whenever we're talking of measure of value, that means again you can easily measure 1 kg of wheat in terms of money. Okay, that if I want 1 kg of wheat, I'll have to pay 50 rupees. But I cannot say that what 1 kg of wheat is equal to what 1 kg of rice, right? So whenever I need to quantify it in terms of money, I can easily do with the help of money only. Last point, standard of deferred payment. Why this is so? Standard of deferred payment refers to whenever you are measuring in terms of money, you know that 25 rupees is just the same as 50 rupees. That means 25 into 2 will be 50 rupees. Not that 25 rupees is equivalent to 50. No, that is whenever we are talking in terms of different currencies. Here we are talking in terms of same currency, that is this is also rupee and this is also rupee. So whenever I'm talking in terms of same currency, so we say that it's a standard of deferred payment. That means you are measuring in same terms. All right. And all these, although we have done these things in previous lecture also, when we stated that what problems did money overcame when we are talking in terms of barter exchange, but now we are doing that what actually defines money. So we can say that money is anything that can be accepted as a medium of exchange, or is helps us in storage of value, is a great measure of value, and of course helps us in standard of deferred payment. With this, again we can say that money has four functions. Two of it are primary and two of it are secondary. Secondary, by secondary we mean that they are additional. That is, they are the plus point for us. So whenever we are talking in terms of secondary, secondary will be standard of deferred payment along with the storage of value, because it is easy to store as well as it helps us in standard deferred of payment. So these two are our secondary, and these two are our primary functions. That is, it's most important for us as a medium of exchange and plus as a measure of value. So primary functions are the most important functions which are resolved by money, and secondary functions become storage of value along with standard of deferred payment. Now what do we mean by primary function and secondary function? We have discussed. Now what helps us as a storage of as a medium of exchange in primary function, we will be understanding this. uh, Actually we have done this already, as we can relate through the example only. Whenever we are talking in terms of medium of exchange, money is very much important for us. Whenever for example I can say that, first of all, this function removes the problem of barter system, right, that we have done it before. Then it is used as a use of money. It allows us to purchase any amount of item, because we know that what actually is the price of that quantity or that price that we want to purchase. Thirdly, it also facilitates us to trade. That is, we can always trade interstately, or we can sell, purchase, or we can make profits out of it. And then money has no power in itself, so it cannot pursue a person, that for example, why it's not having a power of itself means, whenever I'm talking in terms of gold, then gold has its own value. Even nowadays gold value is increasing day by day because of approaching navratris and Diwali celebrations. So we can say that it does not have its own value. That means if I say that a 10 rupees note does not have its own value unless it's signed by the governor of India or it's owned by the government, right? So its own value is null. Whenever it's taken up by the government, this gets valuable. Then coming on to our second point, that is measure of value. It's very important, as we can reduce, basically we can say that by reducing its value, or finding the exchange ratio, we can always put up a point that okay, we can exchange this much quantity for that amount, right? That means if I say that my 1 rupee is equal to one toffee, then I can say that okay, if I want to purchase two toffees, then I'll have to pay up 2 rupees in all. Then coming on to a very next point of our again measure of value. This function facilitates us to maintain business accounting. Why? Because this helps us to calculate each and every value in monetary terms, right? And then comes our last function of this point, that is where, this helps us in calculating the relative value or unit of accounts. Okay. Then coming on to our secondary functions, first one we'll be doing is storage of value. Under storage of value, we can say that obviously I can store up rupees 1 to 1000 rupees in just my pocket, but I cannot store 1 kg of wheat in my pocket. Second point, we can say that it is easily portable also. If I can keep money in my pocket and I cannot keep weight in my pocket, then obviously I can say that it is easily portable. Then I can say that money is generally accepted as a medium of exchange. Why it is accepted as a medium of exchange? Because we can, whenever you are going to some person, you want something to buy or you want something to sell, you can say, okay bhaiya, I want this much and I'll pay you this much. So it's always easy to work. And if you're having money in your pocket, you can straight away deal with the person hand to hand, right? That is a facility. But if you are dealing with wheat, rice in exchange, then you will face a bit more problem. Why you will be facing a problem? Because we can say that whenever I will be dealing with 2 kgs of wheat, 3 kgs of wheat, then I'll be saying, okay, bhaiya, I want this much item, but I'll give you or you can get it picked up from my house. I am having the quantity in my house, right? So coming on to our next point, that is standard of deferred payment. That is, it simplifies borrowing, lending, each and everything. Because whenever I am saying that it acts as a standard deferred payment, then everywhere the value will be same, because it's a standard value and I can use it everywhere. So that's why it helps us as a standard deferred payment. All right. Now coming on to our next point. Now coming up with money supply. What does actually money supply mean? Money supply is basically that quantity of currency that is, or we can say that total amount of money that is held by public at a particular period of time. So we can write here, the main points are total amount of money held by public at a particular period of time. So I can say that money supply is total amount of money that is held by public at a particular period of time. Why I have separated these three points in my definition? Because whenever I'm talking in terms of total amount of money, this is a very important point that you should not miss in your answer. And then it is always held by public. Whenever we are talking in terms of money supply, then that quantity is always held by public. So it is again a very important point. And then we always calculate stock value at a particular period of time. So that's why we are talking it as a very important point here. So that's why we need to remember all these 3 points in our money supply. Now coming on to features. Features, again we can say that first of all, it's money is held by public is our very first feature that we need to note down, that it is, first of all, it is held by public. And the very second feature, as I discussed, that we are talking in terms of a period of time, so it is a stock concept. So whenever you are talking in terms of at a particular period of time, we are calculating it at a period of time. So it becomes a stock concept. Why? As we have discussed in our lecture number 2 about stock and flows, that whenever we are talking in terms of stock, that stock is something that we are calculating at a particular period of time, and flow is something that is being distributed at a particular period of time, or which is running in and out again and again on continuous basis. So now coming up with how to calculate money supply. Now whenever you need to calculate money supply, there are 4 methods to calculate it. First is M1, second is M2, third is M3, and fourth one is M4. Why we are saying it M1, M2, M3, M4? This is because first of all, under RBI, when RBI was launched, then money measures were also launched along with that, and all these four measures of money method 1, 2, 3, 4, these were launched by RBI for calculation, making it easier to calculate basically money supply only, nothing else. But we made from these four methods, we made money supply go easier. Now calculating up with M1. M1 is nothing, the simplest formula, that is currency with the public in terms of coins or loose money, and then adding up with demand deposits of commercial banks and other deposits with RBI. So we can say that currency with public plus demand deposits with commercial banks. So M1 states the addition of these three important things. Now M2, coming on to M2, M2 is nothing but additional addition in M1. Alright, so the formula becomes M1 plus, listen to me very carefully, saving deposits with post office savings bank. Alright, post office savings bank is another branch of government. You can, nowadays it's more popular. You can just go through your nearby areas where there is post office, they also have a bank along with that. So whenever you are making some deposits with that, it's added directly to money supply measure in M2. So writing on here, savings with post office banks. Okay, now coming on to M3 measure of money supply, it's again addition along with M1 only, not M2, M1. Why? Because M1 is the basic criteria in which we add or subtract any of the items, because this is the simplest formula to calculate money supply. Alright, so coming on, now M3 is addition with M1 plus net time deposits with banks. So we can write here net time deposits with banks. Now coming on to our last measure, that is M4. So M4 is addition with M3 now. M3, that means currency deposits with public, other deposits with RBI, demand deposits with commercial bank, along with net time deposits with the banks, along with another addition, total deposits with post office. Post office banks. So total deposits with post office banks becomes our M4 measure of money supply. Now, keeping some of the important factors in mind, whenever we are calculating the four measures, then liquidity measures are different in all the four. Alright, we can say first one, that is M1, is the most liquid, because you can see that currency to other deposits with the RBI, and then demand deposits with commercial bank. So this is the most liquid method, that is your currency involvement is most and withdrawal is the most. So this is the most liquid. But M4 is the least liquid. Why? Because you can see that net time deposits come here. So whenever there is time involvement, it is involving a fixed period, that is withdrawal can be done after a fixed period only. So that's why it is the least liquid method of calculating money measures. Now another measure, M3, is widely used money measure. Like we can say aggregate money resources are always calculated by M3. So M3 is most popular. M1 and M2 are, we can say that narrow money supply concept. They are narrow money supply concepts. Why? Because see, we can say that this is savings with post office banks, right? Savings can be withdrawn whenever you want, and savings are the leftover after you spent all your income. And currency is also not that much big. Whenever you are that currency which is within your pocket is calculated here. So that's why they are narrow concepts. Otherwise, we can say that M3 and M4 are broad concepts. Why? Here we can say that their net time deposits are involved, and this is total deposit we are talking. So they all are our money supply measures. We have done with the features of money supply. We have done with the definition of money supply. And with this, we end up with our lecture. Meet you in next class. Stay tuned. Do subscribe our channel so that you can have our latest videos.